Wales Air Ambulance was launched on St David's Day 2001 and now has 4 air bases across Wales, in Cardiff, Caernarfon, Llanelli and Welshpool. In 2021, the charity marks 20 years of service, and what better way to acknowledge that milestone than the introduction of a 24/7 air ambulance operation, said the chairman, Mr David Gilbert. The base was set up in Welshpool Airport around 2008 and was a central point to cover mid-Wales. Mid-Wales Airport has a runway which extends over 1,200 metres, and stationed at the airfield are flying schools. Wizard helicopters, Dragon Wings microlights and Magus Aviation can all provide you with all the training you need to become a pilot. They can also provide pleasure and chartered flights so that you can find out what flying is all about. There is also a cafe at the airport with outside seating for viewing so that you can see the aircrafts taking off and landing. The airport also provides hangarage. People who visit the airfield can see the air ambulance base and have a close-up view of the helicopter when it's not attending a call-out. Since 2001, they have undertaken nearly 38,000 missions. The charity prides itself on being a charity for the people of Wales and are ready to save lives whenever needed. They claim that they can be there for anyone in Wales within 20 minutes.
It's the most advanced air ambulance that we've got in Wales now. It was our final aircraft that we upgraded from the old Bolco aircraft. It's got all the bells and whistles, so to speak. It's got a weather radar. It's larger. It's far more fuel efficient than the old aircraft, and it's just a better air ambulance vehicle. It's actually been purpose built for air ambulance duties. It takes a pilot and 2 paramedics, and it has got room for 2 patients. It's very, very rare that we take 2 patients on board, but there is room for 2 patients. But more importantly, for if a child ever needs to be airlifted, there is plenty of room for mum or dad to come on board as well, whereas previously that was just not possible. Every month is different, so summer months are far busier than the winter months. And that's mainly because the summertime in Wales is far busier. Schools close, people come on holiday, they come to Wales for their holidays, and when they come into Wales they go to our scenic areas which have poor roads. They're far away, they're isolated, roads get clogged up, and if there is a problem, very, very often local ambulances can get to patients, but they simply cannot get to an A&E hospital quickly, and that's where the air ambulances come in. So a call will come through into Welshpool, for example, but it might actually come from anywhere in Wales. It just depends on where the other air ambulances are at the time. We mainly cover mid-Wales, so that will be Brecon Beacons up to Machynlleth, Aberystwyth, then across to Welshpool. That's the general area, but they will go to any job anywhere in the country if that's where they need to go. Our Air ambulances are completely funded by public donations. We don't receive any government funding or national lottery funding to help keep our helicopters flying. All our funding comes from the people of Wales, and it really is an amazing thing to think that those helicopters are flying because of the support we receive in Wales from the general public. The money comes in all sorts of forms, and people do all sorts of things to fundraise for us. So you're talking small communities doing local events, jumble sales, fairs, charity concerts, head shaves in pubs, sponsored runs, marathons, all these sorts of things people do to raise money for us. So people are very, very generous, and it's because they believe that what we do is a good thing for Wales. We save lives, and I think people really understand that and appreciate it.
My son, Richard, had a nasty accident with a tractor and muck spreader where he was working, and the tractor and the spreader started rolling down the hill, and the tractor toppled over, and his friend who was working with him phoned the emergency services. The air ambulance arrived and got him to Stoke Hospital, where he was unconscious for 3 days. But the time that it took to get him there was about half an hour. What it would be on the road, I don't know, at least 2.5 hours. But it obviously was a big factor in saving him.
Yeah, about 18 months ago, I was very unlucky to have involved in an accident on a quad, one of these. I was going up a bit of a sideland, and I was standing up, and I touched the cut-off switch on the handlebars, and the bike came back on me and landed on my chest. Luckily the bike rolled away, and I was left with a crushed chest and unable to breathe, and I thought I was dying. But luckily I managed to calm myself down and managed to get a few short breaths back into my chest, and that enabled me then to phone a friend which was working on the farmhouse, a builder, and he came down and helped me, and he phoned the ambulance, and I would say within under 15 minutes the ambulance was flying above. I was lucky. There was a doctor and 2 paramedics on board, and I had brilliant service. Fair play, they can't praise them enough. Coming to Shrewsbury, and they stayed as well to wait. I think it was just to see that I was all right with no further injuries, because I remember him coming up to tell me, right, we're off now, after everybody checked me over.
When the air ambulance receives a call out, they pinpoint exactly where the location is. The helicopter pilot has a duty of care in ensuring the safety of the medical crew on board, and of course the helicopter itself. This location was attended by a helicopter from Welshpool, which arrived in a very short time, as a patient had experienced heart problems. Her daughter takes up the story.
For many years I've raised money for Wales Air Ambulance through several charity events, including a beauty pageant which I held in Newtown, and we raised over thousands of pounds over the years. Mum had a heart attack because she had a blood clot, unfortunately, and the first responders actually got her back, and then she had to have Wales Air Ambulance to get her straight away to North Wales Hospital. So they landed in the field in Treveglois and took her straight to North Wales, to the hospital. Yeah, and I'm very grateful, because she wouldn't be here now, because I got married this year and she wouldn't have been here if it wasn't for Wales Air Ambulance.
Is there anybody from Powys County Council that could write to the Welsh Government and ask for the data to be released?
Elwyn,
well, as a point of information, if it helps, I had the Freedom of Information request in for that exact data. I had a response yesterday, and the latest excuse is that the data will be released in due course. More than likely on the 5th of November it will be handed over to the NHS Commissioner. So I don't envisage anything before then.
Thank you for that clarity. That's really helpful. Gareth, is that okay? We'll now go on to next speaker, Councillor Joy Jones.
Thank you. All I was going to do was just confirm that I'd spoken to the Commissioner, the NHS Commissioner for the ambulances, and he told me that it would be released in public on the 5th of November. So I just wanted to say that there will be a meeting, that we'll be able to get the data and all the information will be released at that point.
Thank you very much, Councillor Joy.
There will be a disadvantage with these changes, as they will have avoided making a direct response. That hardly puts much faith in the recommendations. And of course, it's not just the helicopters that will be centralised in Rhuddlan, but the RRV emergency vehicles. The result of this centralisation will mean that there will be one helicopter in Mid Wales and the North at any one time instead of the current two. Yes, it will be possible to fly later in the day and in the evening, but CAA rules significantly limit where a helicopter can land in the dark. Therefore, the reliance on the RRV vehicles would be significant. And what support will those be to extensive parts of Mid Wales when based in Rhuddlan? And that does not even consider the effect of weather. As a former pilot for the charity said, and I
having been one of the pilots at the base, this is a crazy idea. The comments that being central and that helicopters quick, I think you'd better take into account the weather and terrain. It's a crazy idea, and the people of Wales must fight to keep all the bases and management making the decisions. You can consult the pilots and crews, and even have a day on the aircraft in crap weather, then ask what it's really like on a bad day, before making stupid decisions which will cost lives.
Thank you. Clive will begin. Result.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, members. The result is 41 for, no against, 17 abstentions.
Okay, thank you very much. So that is passed.
I know from my own inbox and going and talking to constituents that it's really emotive. They've donated a lot of money over the years and they want to continue that. We are so rural in Montgomeryshire, and being that heart of Wales, we should have an air ambulance, in my opinion. I want to see some of the modelling, but you are right, it's a really emotive decision. I am deeply sceptical, as I said, that moving the helicopter from the most rural, the middle of Wales, improves the service for anyone, and I'm very sceptical it improves the service for people in Montgomeryshire and West Wales particular.
Well, I'm Councillor Elwyn Vaughan from Plaid Cymru in Powys.
Elwyn, you put a motion in to the council today, and I noticed that you got it through. Would you like to tell me a little bit about that?
Well, yes, basically it's part of the wider campaign to keep the air ambulance base in Welshpool. It's of paramount importance for Mid Wales and for residents in this area, and therefore we felt it was important to highlight that fact.
I understand there's a meeting up in Portmarnock tomorrow. And they're very concerned up there about Caernarfon moving.
Well, yes, it's part of the wider proposals to centralise everything in North East Wales. And the meeting in Porthmadog, I understand, will be highlighting concerns in Gwynedd, which the MP and Plaid Cymru Senedd members are campaigning for there.
Well, clearly the proposal to remove the air ambulance from Welshpool has raised huge concerns in local communities and across the whole region, and partly that's because the announcement came out in a sort of accidental way almost, and leaked out without there being any evidence presented by the air ambulance service as to why they were making this proposal in the first place. So clearly it's all started off on the wrong foot, and it is clear that the concerns are real and genuine. And for understandable reasons, given the topography of Wales, the fact that we have, particularly in the winter, many days when flying helicopters is very difficult because of the weather, placing the air ambulance at great distance away from our dispersed rural communities in mid Wales, it seems like a contradictory thing to do, because surely we see the purpose of the air ambulance as being able to serve communities that the road-based ambulance services have great difficulty getting to, and indeed even if they can get to them, it takes a long time to get there. So clearly the air ambulance is seen as a huge asset for us and saving lives and giving reassurance to people in rural areas. So without some really strong evidence that this move is going to improve the service for the people of Powys, it's very hard to see us supporting it.
Well, as far as the air ambulance is concerned here in Welshpool, I think they've already built up a brilliant reputation for themselves. They've saved so many lives, and I've seen the helicopters getting bigger and bigger, and so basically they've got a really state-of-the-art setup here.
Well, of course, the concern isn't just about the aircraft moving, it's about the vehicle moving as well. And the proposal is for the aircraft and the road vehicle to move. Now, we know in Mid Wales we haven't got a district general hospital. We've got a very difficult road network. So this is all the more reason that we need both the aircraft and the road vehicle to remain here in Welshpool. You only have to see charity events that are organised across Mid Wales, and almost certainly it's going to be for the air ambulance. We know when, whether it's funerals taking place or whether it's people doing fundraising events, we know that the vast majority of time people are doing that because they want to support the Wales Air Ambulance, and this is where the donations go. And of course, my fear is, I would encourage people to keep donating to Wales Air Ambulance, but my fear is that connection will be lost. Let's remember, this is exactly why people do donate to the Wales Air Ambulance and are willing to do charity events for the service and the charity, just simply because it's loved so much and appreciated.
I'm Di Will, and I started the campaign to save the Welshpool base of the Wales Air Ambulance. We were amazed, actually. I started it up, and within just a matter of a few days there was 2,000 to 3,000, and now it's nearly 10,000 followers, which is fantastic. We just wanted to get the message out to the public as much as we could. Cynthia Juice, who's on my campaign, came up with the idea of banners, and we contacted Welshpool Printing Group. They've been helping us fantastically with it, and a number of local businesses have now paid for banners. We're aiming to get as many of these banners right across Mid Wales as possible. We're getting a lot of encouragement from local businesses, and the more the better, quite frankly.
My name is Cynthia Juice. I live in Newtown on the Bryn Lane, and I am the admin, one of the admin people on the Save Wales Air Ambulance campaign. So I deal with the banners, the merchandise, the hoodies, the sweatshirts, beanies, and the car stickers.
As you can see, we've sponsored the banner, me and my wife Nerys. You'll see a lot of these going up in Powys, Mid Wales, as it's a vital cause for the campaign. And please, please, please support it well, because we don't want to lose it. Over the last 20 years, we've raised 25,000 for the air ambulance.
Around 2 months ago, we had a family wedding, and following the wedding on the Sunday, we had a Sunday lunch and decided to raise funds for the air ambulance as a small thank you for the great service they gave to our son Richard when he had his tractor accident. We were able to raise £3,000 for their funds, and it does concern me that most of the funerals we do, the air ambulance is got to be the favourite charity people wish to donate to. Around 80% of the donations received go for the Wales Air Ambulance. I can see people being more reluctant to donate to this good charity if the air ambulance is moved from Welshpool. And it would be such a great shame, as it is a great service we have in our area.
Shropshire councillors are requesting a meeting with the Wales Air Ambulance chiefs to explain plans to move from Welshpool, as their helicopters are sometimes used in their part of the world. They feel they need to be briefed, as Powys County Council have, and feel they must be included in their consultation.
Dwi'n meddwl bod hi'n drychu nebus bod nhw'n meddwl symud yr ambulance awyr o'r Trallwng i'r Gogledd. Sgen i fawr o ddim fan yma yn y canolbarth, so ddim ysbytai yma. Os da chi'n sal, rhaid chi fynd i'r rhywle fel Aberystwyth, sydd awr a hanner i ffwrdd da chi'n byw yn y Trallwng, neu rhaid chi fynd dros y ffin i Loegar. A mae'r ambulance awyr wedi achub dwsina o fywydau damweiniau ceir, pobl yn cael trewed ar y galon ac yn y blaen, a trwy symud o, wel, da chi'n rhoi bywydau pobl o dan bygythiad.
The Wales Air Ambulance decided to hold invitation-only meetings across Mid Wales. Meetings were arranged to take place in Welshpool right through to Aberystwyth, but were later cancelled. The meetings had been heavily criticised by local politicians and campaigners and led to calls for a full public consultation. MS from Montgomeryshire, Russell George, said, "The meetings created an element of confusion about the engagement process, and the timing of this exercise is also questionable." Dr. Sue Barnes explains the reason behind this cancellation. In an email she says, "As you will have seen, one of the reasons we ended up cancelling the supporter events was that, despite our best efforts to clarify how they sat alongside the Chief Ambulance Service Commissioner's process, there was still some uncertainty in a variety of quarters. Given that the next meeting of EASC is rapidly approaching, which will be on the 6th of December, then I don't think the charity holding public meetings at this time would be helpful. We are, however, considering and planning how we interact with our supporters once the Commissioner's process and timetable is agreed and underway." The timeline for the proposed closure of Welshpool Air Ambulance Base appears to have been drawn out further after it had been revealed that a public meeting may not be held until the new year. It appears at this stage the Emergency Ambulance Service Committee, EASC, which is a joint committee of the 7 health boards in Wales, has a strong voice in decision making, along with EMRTS, the Emergency Medical Retrieval and Transfer Service, the Wales Air Ambulance Service, together with the Ambulance Commissioner, Mr. Stephen Harry, may well be the ones who decide the fate of the Welsh Air Ambulance bases at Welshpool and Caernarfon. One former Wales Air Ambulance pilot has allegedly stated that the bases have the best crews doing a great job in the right positions in Wales. They don't need added pressure of flying in crap weather close to the mark because of trying to centralise and save money. He also states that the management making these decisions need to consult the pilots and crews and even have a day on the aircraft in bad weather to see what it's really like before making decisions which will cost lives. The Wales Air Ambulance have given a lot of reasons why they're planning to move. Do any of those reasons make any sense to you?
You can give me as many reasons as you want to move the air ambulance. I'm sure at the end of the day it comes down to money. It always does. But of course, what you're doing there is you're putting money before people's lives. Because if somebody has an accident, if someone gets ill in mid-Wales, you've either got to go to Aberystwyth, which if you live in Welshpool is an hour and a half away, or you've got to go over the border to England. We really have very few facilities, and one of the few things we do have is the air ambulance. And over the years, the air ambulance must have saved dozens of lives here. So many people right across Mid-Wales have raised so much money. We're talking about millions of pounds over the years to help the Wales Air Ambulance. I've done 3 walks the length of Wales to raise money, and now you find people everywhere coming out to the woodwork just campaigning to keep the air ambulance in Welshpool. So please, 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 will you rethink your plans?